Today we're going to talk about a tool called types of conversation. This tool is really was designed by a friend of mine, good friend and a colleague, Glenn Mangurian. I'm going to start with a story because that's how I learned about this tool. My wife and I, we went to Turkey and Greece, and it was a great time. And at the end of that trip, the very last day, we were in Athens. We were going to take a flight back the next morning to the US, but that last night, that evening, we got dressed up and we went into town for the last dinner of the vacation. And there we are, walking the beautiful restaurants, just dozens of them, street after street, and with great nice outdoor cafes. And we're walking down every street, looking at the restaurant, trying to decide which one should we dine at. And my wife, she takes a look at every restaurant, looks at the menu, looks at the ambiance, and decides, well, let's keep walking. And we keep walking, we go to the next one, look at the restaurant, look at the menu, and she says, let's keep walking. Now I'm getting a bit tired. I'm tired more because I want a beer. I want to sit down and have a beer. That's my purpose. And my wife, she wants the right restaurant for dinner. So I start asking her, so Pat, what kind of a restaurant are you looking for? She goes, I don't know. I'll know when I see it, she says. Oh, I hate that answer. I'll know when I see it. Because you can't help. She looks at the next one. She passes on that. Now I'm getting tired. Tell me the cuisine. Are you interested in the cuisine or are you interested in the ambiance? And what kind of cuisine are you looking for? She goes, I don't know. I mean, they're both important, cuisine and ambiance. Well, what kind of cuisine? I don't know. We go to the next one, and she doesn't like that one either. And I'm ready for my beer now. I want to sit down. And she's on to the next restaurant. Anyway, I come back to the US, and I tell my friend Glenn Mangurian this story. And he laughs, and he says to me, Balaji, let me tell you what the problem is. You and your wife were having two different kinds of conversations. I said, what do you mean two different kinds? We're having the same conversation. He goes, no, you're having two different kinds of conversation. He says, you see, there are three types of conversation. A conversation of possibility. A conversation of possibility is one where you explore the possible alternatives. And your objective is simply to explore the alternatives, not evaluate them, not critique them, and surely not decide them, but explore the alternatives. And it's like a brainstorming session. You allow all alternatives to be surfaced, and you dream of each of those alternatives to enjoy how that alternative could be a very good alternative. This is the conversation that your wife was having, Glenn says. The second type of conversation is a conversation of opportunity. In this conversation, you actually evaluate the alternative, the good, the bad, the pros, the cons, the difficulties, the benefits. But you don't try to make a decision. You evaluate them so you understand the alternative better. And the third type of conversation, a conversation of action. Glenn says, Balaji, that's the conversation you were having. You wanted your beer. You were having a conversation of action. Let's find the restaurant. Let's sit down. Let's order the beer. But she was having a conversation of possibilities. When two people are involved in the same conversation, but their types don't match, they get frustrated because they have different objectives. It occurred to me, wow, that's exactly true. How often have you been in a meeting where there's a conversation going on about something and you want to decide and the others are still talking about possibilities? or just evaluating and never actually coming to a conclusion. How frustrating is that? So next time you're in a meeting, ask yourself, is this a conversation of possibility, a conversation of opportunity, or a conversation of action? And then declare that so that everybody involved in that conversation can understand the type of conversation that is being held. And with that type comes a protocol of what you should be tolerant of and what you should not be tolerant of. If you can get the type of conversation clarified, there will be less frustration. Not only that, then you can move from a conversation of possibility to then a conversation of opportunity, and finally a conversation of action. You can actually make progress. So not only will there be less frustration, but you can actually make progress over time. Next time you're in a meeting, ask yourself, what type of conversations are we having? Types of conversation.